All right, let's go and get started on Unit 3, and we're going to go ahead and talk about parallel lines and perpendicular lines. The first skill, we're going to go and focus on graphing equations of lines. And then skills 2, we're actually going to go ahead and write equations of specific lines, okay? Now, a lot of this is a repeat of algebra from last year, but we do like to go ahead and review it in geometry. So the first skill in level 1 is I can go ahead and calculate the slope from a graph and its points. When we're talking about calculating the slope in this case, right, looking at a graph, we want to go and focus on rise over run, where the rise are your y values on your y-axis. So when we're going up, those are our positive values. When we're going down, those are my negative values. And then we have the run, which in this case we're going to go right however many. Okay, so if I were to go ahead and look at example 1, right, I'm going to go ahead and first start with my rise. So I'm going to start at my lowest point right over here. I'm going to go up however many, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good, we're going to go up 4 wherever it's in line with your other point. And then I'm going to go right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, we went up 4, so this is our rise, and then our run, we're going right 6, and then we can go ahead and see if this reduces. If I were to go and plug in my calculator, right, 4 divided by 6, and press this little icon, it gives me a fraction of 2/3. Okay, so this is where your answer is actually going to be 2/3. You have to double check in your calculator to see if it reduces. Okay. Same exact thing with example 2. This time I'm going to go and start with my first point over here. And instead of going up, we're going to go down. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So again, I'm going down 7. And then I'm going to go right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so again, my rise, in this case, we're going down 7. So this is a -7. And then we're going right 9. And we got a fraction of a -7/9. Now, if we plug this in my calculator, this would be the reduced fraction in this case. Example 3 this time, right? It looks like we're not going up or down. We're only going to go right. So I'm actually going to go right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that doesn't mean that there is no rise, right? The rise in this case is just 0 because I'm not going anywhere if I'm going up or down. So we have 0 for my rise, and we're going right 6. And this actually gives me a value of 0. Okay. Now here's my little note to you, right? This is a horizontal line. And this will come back later in the unit. Horizontal line, they always have a slope of 0. Okay. And very similarly, we're going to see something similar in example 4. So this time I'm going to start with my first point up here. And it looks like I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. So I'm going down 3. So we're going to start with -3 as my rise. Right, we're going down 3. And it looks like if we start up here, went down the 3, we're not going left or right. So this is going to be 0. And whenever we have something divided by 0, this is going to be an undefined answer, okay? So you could say undefined, or this is technically the notation for undefined. It's like a 0 and it has a little slash through it, okay? And now you know that vertical line, so this is a vertical line, they will always have an undefined slope. Okay, always an undefined slope. All right, so this is when we're given a graph and we can go ahead and find the slope. There is another way to go ahead and find the slope, however, and this is by using what is called the slope formula. So M is standing for slope, and what happens is we're going to take y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. And again, we get these points from these ordered pairs of x1, y1, and x2, y2. Kind of like when we did the midpoint formula in Unit 1, right? Kind of like the same exact thing, but now this is the formula that we're focusing on with slope. So example 5, it says find the slope of the line that passes through each pair of points. So here we have a set of points of point A, which is negative 3, 7. I'm going to go ahead and label this as x1, y1. And then I have point B, which is a negative 2, negative 6. This is my x2, y2. Okay, so I get M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I'm literally going to go ahead and take these points and plug them into my equation, my formula. So I'm going to start with my y2. In this case, my y2 is negative 6. I'm going to go ahead and subtract it with my y1, in this case, is 7. And then I'm going to divide it by x2, in this case is a negative 2. And I'm going to subtract it with the x1, in this case is a negative 3. And then I can go ahead and solve it, right? Negative 6 minus 7. This is where we have that little trick where we're actually adding them, right? You're adding the negative, so this is a negative 13 all over here. We have a negative times a negative, so that gives me positive. So we're really thinking negative 2 plus 3, which is just 1. And then this reduces to a negative 13, right? If you start with this guy, anything divided by 1 gives you your numerator, right? So my slope is going to be a negative 13. Sometimes slopes gives you a nice number. Other times it might be left in fraction form. Okay, same exact thing. This time we're dealing with points C and D. I'm going to label this as x1, y1. Label this guy as x2, y2. And same exact process where I take my formula, m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. Right, I'm going to take my y2, in this case is 9. I'm going to subtract it with my y1, which is 3. I'm going to take my x2, which is 4, subtract it with my x1, which is 8. And I can keep on solving. 9 minus 3 is 6. 4 minus 8 gives me a negative 4. And then we can go ahead and actually plug this into my calculator. I'm going to type in negative 6 divided by 4, press my little fraction icon, and it gives me a fraction of a negative 3 over 2. This gives me negative 3 over 2. And that is my slope. Okay. So this is it, guys. The next page kind of talks about what we know about lines already, right? If we have a line that is looking like this, where it starts going down but then keeps going up and up and up, this has a positive slope, okay? We talked about the zero slope, right? This is when we have a horizontal line. That's when we have a horizontal line, and we know my slope is 0. Then we have a negative slope. So if we're starting going up and up and up and we go down and down and down, right, we get a negative slope. And then we have an undefined slope. In this case is my vertical line. Oops. And this is when we have an error, which in this case is my undefined answer. Okay. All right, the next video will be going ahead and doing some practice problems.